Hello, everyone. I'm Lanny Cohen, Capgemini's Chief Innovation Officer. It's my pleasure and honor to have with me today a very dear friend, a colleague of many years, and for this conversation, probably most importantly, a Vice President and Chief Digital Officer of Capgemini Business Services, Manuel Sevilla. Manuel's going to talk to us today about one of the three key drivers of renewal and renaissance, and that's specifically about proficiencies. Welcome, Manuel.
Hey Lenny, thanks for the invitation. It's great to be here. As you know, the world of business process outsourcing has changed few years ago. It used to be a people-intensive activity, where delivering finance, accounting, human resources management, and supply chain to our customers. And the two key skills were about, first of all, labor arbitrage. So moving to offshore resources that, first of all, were front, and very important, process modeling to bring productivity from process improvement. But nowadays, to keep improving the productivity, the real expectation from our customers is on digital transformation, how to bring the real digital solutions to be efficient. This is why I joined the team 2 years ago, to strengthen this activity and to really invest in digital transformation within business services.
That's great, Manuel. And I think obviously your current role and all the other positions you've had in the group have really, I think, give us an opportunity to explore this topic of proficiencies in a fair bit of depth with you. As you know, Manuel, I've been, very, very focused on proficiency development as one of the key requirements for enterprises to adopt and apply innovation at the kind of speed and scale that's required in the market today. So if you could, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what we consider to be four primary dimensions of proficiencies that we need to consider.
Let's start with enablers of barriers. As you know, every attempt to deliver a digital transformation will have to face issues and reasons not to be done. It's natural resistance. It's about culture, cost, organization, IT silos, discipline, or simply why changing we have a cash cow. So there are always a lot of reasons not to move. The first dimension is about being ready to face these concerns, to find this reason not to do, and to never forget why the change has to happen.
Great, Manuel. So alongside these four dimensions, I think which will be very instrumental in creating lasting change, you also referred to a very, very interesting concept, frictionless enterprise. And I know this is an area that you've been working diligently on. Can you elaborate on frictionless enterprise a bit more for us?
Of course. You know, the word friction is magic because all enterprises dream of solving the frictions. So what we do is using frictionless enterprise to lead the companies, the organizations, the people, and the IT to a truly transformative impact across 7 fundamentals. So first one is augmented workforce. And I think this one is very important because it is how do we help the employees to be more efficient, but also to support the change. So it is, of course, about productivity, automation, improving the quality, but it is also about the transition and making sure that the employees will come with the change. So the adherence to the change is critical. Second one is touchless processes. Yeah, it's not only about going faster. Sometimes it's about supporting instantaneous delivery of a process. It's the only way to hyperscale. Okay? And when you want to fully automate a process, you cannot just automate an existing process. You have to redesign it with the mindset of being fully automated from day one. That changes completely the process and the way it works. Especially, you have to remove the exceptions or to keep them very specific. So that's quite important. Third one is the intuitive user experience, which at the end is especially about the collaboration with your partners, who can be suppliers, but also customers. Yeah, if you change alone and that you're not changing the ecosystem, you're not changing with the ecosystem, you can fail. So this one is extremely important too. Fourth one is on continuous improvement. Really, the message here is first of all to say, when you do a digital transformation, is not something that is achieved at the end of the transformation. It's just the first step. And you have to build an organization and a mindset that will allow you to keep improving all along. It's an endless process. It's very important to understand that too. Agile enterprise, that's something that you love, Lenny. I know you, and I know it's very, very fundamental for you. Agile enterprise is how do we set up, how do we organize so that mindset, organization, even the process, even the IT are here to support agility and fluidity. Not only to support, but even to generate it. And I had customers who were asking me, why do we need to be agile? You know, first of all, competition will force you to be agile, but not only competition, look at COVID-19. Every company had to adapt to it. So of course, if you're rigid, I can tell you that adapting to it is just a pain, and it's very, very painful. Sixth one, we name it Sustainable Planet. And you know, when you invest in a massive transformation, you cannot avoid this side of it. That's not only about image or even greenwashing, you know. It's because sustainability is a key element. So first of all, it can be seen as a way to simplify the process. Okay, not doing things 3 times but only once is about efficiency, but at the end it's also about sustainability. But it's also because your customers will ask for it because of the image, but also, you know, in a B2B business, your customer will ask you to be carbon neutral because they want to be zero neutral. They will ask you to be digital inclusive because they will not work with a partner who is not able to provide services to everyone on earth. That's very important. But the key of Sustainable Planet is your values. Every company has values, and doing such transformation without taking into account the values would be a massive mistake. And last one, we name it Secure Business because we cannot do a change if we're not taking into account topics like cybersecurity, compliance, privacy, trust. The fact that we take that into account in the change is fundamental to guarantee that the change is under control. It's not about doing anything to change. It's about changing in the right way, which is also a secured way, not only discovering something new. And then I come back to your question because we were speaking about a rapid change. And I think it's very important to understand that frictionless enterprise is not only about changing the whole company and the whole enterprise. It's about starting at a very small step, very small level, and step by step we grow and we change more and more and faster. So really it's about being very pragmatic and efficient. This is what we name frictionless enterprise.
That's terrific, Manuel. Thanks for laying that out. I think as I've written about these various articles on enterprise renewal and renaissance, what we attempt to do is to lay out this concept of proficiencies as a way to then move on to a discussion of what is a renewed enterprise or an enterprise that's pursuing and achieving renaissance actually look like. And I think the attributes that you just walked us through for a frictionless enterprise does a very, very good job of outlining that. Leadership is so fundamental to achieving and driving the kind of transformation, the kind of renewal that we're talking about in this discussion. So again, share your thoughts on the importance and the role of leadership in terms of making these kinds of changes and achieving these types of future state models.
You're fully right. We cannot longer rely on business as usual incrementalism. We all know that the budgets of our customers are killed because of the maintenance cost. Okay, so the difficulty to innovate is very often into that. So the transformation that we bring needs to solve it. So it's not only about adding another level of complexity with something brand new and called digital. Simplification has to be part of it. And just to give an example, when we want to work against frictions between departments, the first difficulty is the alignment. And very often I see companies who try to fight against it, starting with IT, you know, but silo busting, it's a consequence, it's not the objective. The objective is that the departments are working efficiently together. The objective is that the partners, the customers are part of the process and can see it. So once you understand that, then you can see that simplification is very often about a better communication. And then you discover that many things, many parts of the process can simply be eliminated, radically simplified, and that it works better. So really the change has to be focused on simplicity. And I think it's a very important model of leadership. Simplicity, it's a keyword.
I agree, Manuel. And I think that really does a great job of kind of wrapping up the discussion that we wanted to have today. The last point I would make is that what we've been talking about is not an event. It's not a kind of a point in time type of opportunity to pursue proficiencies, attributes, frictionless enterprise. These are acts. These are things that the enterprise has to adopt and become self-sustaining over time, because the one thing we know with certainty is that innovation and transformation are going to be a perpetual and permanent part of the landscape as we move forward. And disruption and uncertainty and complexity and ambiguity are always going to be with us. And by building those proficiencies, having a frictionless enterprise, removing the barriers that allow companies to move with agility and velocity are going to be paramount to really separate those institutions and enterprises that thrive versus those that just continue to be challenged and perhaps will be quite vulnerable in the future state. Manuel, as always, thanks for your time. Thanks for your insights. And as always, thanks for the collaboration.
Thanks a lot, Annie. I always appreciate our discussions.